Hello everyone, myself Jaya Agarwal, Assistant Professor Political Science, SPGCA Ajmer, and we will study in this video representative Indian political thinkers. This is paper second of BA part first, and we are going to study about Manu's political views. And when we talk about Manu's political views, here comes his views on war. So in this video we are going to study about Manu's views on war, what he says about war, and let's have a look. Manu has paid full attention to the preparation and management of war. It means Manu thought about consolidation as well as expansion of the state. Originally, Manu is not in favor of war. Here we can see that 2 points are there. First one is expansion of the state, and second one is Manu is not in favor of war. As far as Manu is concerned, Manu supports expansion of the state. He wants the king to expand its territorial area continuously, but he does not support the war or war as a mean for the territorial area to be extended. So we can clearly see that here are two ideas which seems basically contrary to each other. First one is expansion of the state should be done, but war should not be taken as an equipment or as a tool for this aim. But when we study Manu's views on war thoroughly, we do not find both these ideas contrary. So let's have a look. Let's go ahead. A king should realize his goals mainly through conciliation and bribery and dissension, and war remains his last resort. Here, Manu has told us or has suggested a king that if he has to achieve his goals, what tools should be adopted by him. These are conciliation, bribery, and dissension. And when we talk about international or interstate relations, according to Manu, these are some type of tools or equipments or means to an end, and these are very I must say peaceful weapons for a king. Peaceful his ideas to achieve his goals, peaceful policies, I must say. And here Manu says that war remains his last resort, that when all his ideas, all his peaceful policies and peaceful methods are failed at that time, and he is so sure that now he cannot achieve his goal by applying all these means, then he should resort to war. But he is of the opinion that it should be a Dharmyuddha, war fought on rules approved by Dharm. Here is the main word is key word is Dharmyuddha. Dharmyuddha, when we talk about this word, Yuddha means war and Dharm is principles. Here we do not talk about dharm that refers to the religion. We talk about dharm, this is principles, and dharm yuddha means in brief, dharm yuddha means a war based on religion, on moral principles. A war based on principles, not only not I'm not talking about religion. This is the religion which is based on moral principles. We are not talking about Hindu or Muslim or Sikh or Christian religions. We are talking about it in a broader sense, and that is moral principles. And he laid down certain rules to be applied before, during, and after the commencement or end of war. Manu has given all details about the war preparation, conduct, nature of weapons, type of warfare, treatment of the wounded or dead soldiers, timings, strategies, etc. Here we can see that Manu has given all details about the war. When we talk about the war, Manu has written all the things in details and all aspects regarding the war, like its preparation and conduct of war and nature of weapons used, which will be used in a war, and types of warfare and treatment of the soldiers, and the strength of soldiers and timings and strategies which are being adopted by a king. And Manu has written all these things in such detail that Manu Smriti appears to be manual of warfare. Here the important word is appears to be. We do not say that Manu Smriti book written by Manu is a manual of warfare, but when we study Manusmriti thoroughly, and we can see that it is said that Manusmriti is such type of book which includes all aspects of our life, either it is social, political, economic aspect, or administrative or judicial. Each and every aspect of our life we can be reflected in Manusmriti. But when we study Manusmriti, some thinkers, according to some thinkers, Manu has written about the war or warfare in such details that it seems to be a manual of warfare. So we can understand that how much important the war is for Manu. But the most important thing is that war should be the last resort, and second one, it should be a dharm yudh. Here comes that Manu still sticks to his earlier proposition that it should be a human war, and poisonous or deceptive weapons are not to be used. Soldiers who wish to surrender must not be killed. Persons without weapons or fighting with others or in sleep must not be attacked. So is the case of soldiers in grief, ill or broken hearts. Here we can clearly see I have mentioned 4 or 5 lines here, and all are related to Dharmyud or the moral principles of war. These are some principles like poisonous or deceptive weapons should not be used. Soldiers who wish to surrender must not be killed, and persons without weapons should not be attacked. These are some principles Manu supported by Manu and some other ancient Indian political thinkers, and this is the most important thing, that there may be some circumstances you are to resort to war to fulfill to get your aims or goals, or yes, for the welfare of your state and the citizens. There may be some circumstances. I'm not saying that always there are some circumstances. Sometimes it may be necessary for a king to resort to war, but dharmyut must be there, that a king should uh, follow the principles of war. That's all for today from my side. Thank you very much.